world, and that's, it is what it is. But, Calgary has enough infrastructure, Alberta, Edmonton too. We have a lot of sister studios to Vancouver studios, and so a lot of the work that's being done in the Vancouver market is including a lot of Alberta talent, and it is hard sometimes to be considered on the same level. But it's also hard to go to those places where they're extremely saturated with talent and say, I deserve space. And they're like, well, who are you? Because I have like a line out the door of people that have been here a while doing work with us. What are you doing? Whereas in smaller markets like ours, especially because remote work has eliminated the need to be in those areas as much as it used to be, I wasn't able to do, I'm doing some work with Funimation because of COVID. But before that, it was expected you would go to the studio in Dallas and you would just eat those costs, and you'd have to put yourself up and work as a local, and you're like, well, I want to do the work, but it's hard to take a loss just to be able to do the work. So the normalizing of remote work and how kind of accessible, not just the equipment, but the kind of like DIY, kind of cheaper sound control spaces we can make that are quite compact and efficient. It just really has changed the game so much, and you absolutely don't have to go anywhere to work every week in the VO industry, but you're probably gonna have to make some investments in how can I control my sound, and what types of portals and maybe pay-to-play sites am I gonna patronize, because there's a lot of work, but it's slightly gate-kept. Yeah.
Just had a question about when you first got started out in kind of playing with your voice and kind of seeing where it can take you. Did you ever create a voice or a character or impersonate a voice or a character that was kind of your favorite go-to to kind of just play and have fun?
I think like a lot of kids, I grew up LARPing every show and like every cartoon character I liked. I'd go to this is probably really dating myself, I'd go to the playground and I'd reenact Pee-wee's Playhouse. And, and so I thought like penultimate comedy was Paul Rubens, right? Like here's a grown-up who's a preposterous child. And but also again, whether it's the way that we're all neurodivergent and the way we absorb our environment, but mimicry was always like just a part of trying it, and I still do it. Like my wife will laugh at me because a commercial will come on and I'll be like, so they're talking like this, they're trying to sell me a Lexus, and I'm like, okay. So that person got hired. Where does that sit in their register? How might they have done it so that I can like remind myself of what's happening? But a lot of times, especially in the casting process, they might give you one page, and if you're lucky, there's like a little 3-inch picture, a little short bio, and like 7 lines, and that's it. And then I was like, oh god, okay. And so you look at them, and you look at that bio, and you start making choices. Like, are they older than younger than me, bigger or smaller than me, more powerful or less than me? And kind of just start moving the dot of your dartboard. Like, if you're the center of that dartboard, like what kinds of territories might that one represent? And then you look at timbre and placement and resonance until you start to go, well, can that represent it, and can I still be authentic? Like, can I still express myself within it? But the playfulness, I don't think ever goes away, if we're lucky. But, a specific thing after over 20 years? No, I don't know if there's a specific thing, but it's an ongoing thing of hearing things, parroting, mimicking, trying it out. And in fact, that's one of the things, oh, they left. But in spirit, I remember you. And when you're looking for a resource, just mimic something. Yeah, I can talk right to you. Just mimicking something and seeing what it's like for you to go through it. Starts to teach you what's possible. Because it's not just being able to achieve a voice. Like some people can do a Mickey Mouse impersonation for 3 words, right? That's cool. Except beyond that, they can't express themselves. There's no depth or nuance. And also, you can have a really crappy Mickey Mouse impersonation that no one ever needs to know is a crappy Mickey Mouse impersonation, and find a way to make it allow you to express yourself in a pretty broad spectrum, and then just slip it onto another character. No one ever needs to know where that came from. I'm gonna flop over here. Yeah.
Hi.
I'm gonna get to you next. You've been like holding that arm. Okay.
Yeah. So my question, in this case, when it comes to auditions,
Yeah.
do you normally like when you get hired? Do you normally get hired for just your natural voice, or is
A lot of
sometimes
times.
the accent?
VAs are going to be hired for their natural voice a lot. In the character world, sure, it has maybe a bit more. We want the weird stuff, we want the textures, but almost every commercial you do, almost all of your narration, almost all of your audiobooks is going to be predominantly core voice. And that's great, because, you know, if you're going to read a 300-page book to someone, you kind of want it to just be able to be you, right? Other than listening back and making sure that it was particularly specific the whole way. Like, it's just annoying. But within that, you know, that 300-page book might have 12 characters, and those characters might have accents, and they're certainly going to have a different energy, right? If character A and character B are going to talk to each other and fight each other, I don't want them to just be core voice A and core voice A. So choices will be made, but a lot of times, you know, audiobooks are a different beast because you're gonna map it out. You're gonna understand kind of like what's a synopsis or a bio for each one. What do they represent? So that you can start making some intentional choices. And your booth might be like littered in Post-it notes, or your iPad or whatever silently runs next to you. So you can be like, right, okay, so when I'm them, they're about this. And you want to hopefully be able to slip.
I know I'll never be the same. Shook my world so hard again. Wish I washed away my sins. He's a dead man walking, blank stare in his eyes. Should have given up on the ones I trust. Never should have been surprised when they shot him down. Cold blood to the ground.